Welcome to another episode of LPA Presents. I'm your host, Matthew D. Rhodes, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of voiceover with a true veteran of the craft. For 16 years, she's been captivating audiences with her voice, bringing characters life, mastering accents, and creating unforgettable audio experiences. Our guest has an impressive portfolio with 25 audiobooks on Audible, many of which have been received glowing praises from the APA. She's voiced commercials for Jazzy Vegetarian
Yes.
over 10 seasons, lent her talent to a voice for Charles Schwab that ran for 4 years, and has tackled countless other projects across the voiceover spectrum. Please join me in welcoming the incredibly talented Kathy Ver-
Verduin.
Verduin. I'm sorry, I don't like butchering people's names,
That's okay.
but thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here, Matthew. Thanks for inviting me.
What inspired you to pursue a career in voiceover, and how did you get started in the industry?
Oh, my. Okay. So we're going back. um, I came from a stage performing career. I did that all my life, singing. And I was reading at a wedding one day, a family wedding, and people came up to me afterwards and they said, "Wow, you really brought life to that reading." And then somebody that I knew came up to me and said, "Did you ever think of going into voiceover?" And honestly, I hadn't. I had heard of it because I've been performing, but I always thought about acting and not voiceover. But voiceover is acting.
Hmm.
So I thought, all right, let me look into this. So I trained for a long time. I had what Susan Berkeley calls grit gur, and that's getting ready to get ready. And I was getting ready to get ready for a long time. So I started training with her in 2008. I had my first gig in 2010. So, and the way it worked out, I lived next door to the Jazzy Vegetarian. And that was Laura Theodore, who's amazing. So she is a vegan chef.
Hmm.
We sat down one day and she said, "What are we going to do?" So she had decided to do that. I was in voiceover. She said to me, "You know what? You need to do our commercials." So, hence, I did 10 seasons of their commercials. And currently, Jazzy Vegetarian is running on YouTube. So you can catch up with her there and you can get her cookbooks and all that good stuff too. But I moved on from there into audiobooks. I was invited by Mike Vendetti, and he had a company. It was before Spoken Realm, so I believe it was his own company. And he invited me to start doing children's books.
Hmm.
So he gave me Grimm's fairy tales. And I had heard, of course, of Grimm's fairy tales, but I didn't know. Like I did Little Red Riding Hood, and let's say Little Red Riding Hood has a bad demise at the end of the story.
Right?
But that's basically how I got started and how I got into audiobooks.
Can you recall the first project you ever worked on?
Oh yeah, that was that one. That was Jazzy Vegetarian, and that was the commercials for Papa Vince olive oil. And I was so new. I was so new, and I remember my husband took a cardboard box and he put egg crate foam in it for me and a hole in the bottom of it. And I stuck my USB mic up in there. And that's how I did the beginning of those commercials with that little box. And then I graduated to my walk in closet, which was much better.
How has the voiceover industry changed since you began 16 years ago?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, the big change, and I'm sure that you're aware of it, is AI.
Mm.
Yeah, hello.
Oh,
Hello. So that is changing tremendously.
mm,
I mean, it's either you jump on the train and go with it, or like the people from Nava that went to Washington and fought hard for us to get legally paid for all of our voiceover work, which
hmm
wasn't happening. I
right.
mean, even in the audiobook world, and I won't mention the company name, but there was somebody that took audiobook narrations and started using it to train machines, and the people found out, and it wasn't so good for the company that was doing it. So that's a big change. Narrations are becoming, I'm thinking more about commercials. The way
Mm,
you for a commercial is no more announcer type style voices. It's not here today, we have for you. No, it's they want your everyday conversational, normal talking to people.
okay.
So between those two changes, I think the biggest one is obviously AI.
Yeah. And I maintain this stance. AI is good for being a tool for editing, but not for creating. Just it,
It can't, it cannot, because it
right.
does not have the human function behind it, obviously. No matter how much you feed these machines, Matthew, they
Yes.
are not going to be able to be spontaneous.
No.
No.
And that's the greatest thing about my work is I am a pantser. I can try and plan on my one, but I'm just gonna pants right through it.
Right, right. So I don't think AI, yeah, I'm sure they're training and training and training, but you know what? If you don't hire human, you're not going to have a human sound.
Right.
That's it.
What's your process for preparing to voice a new character or audiobook?
What do I practice? Is that what you said?
What's your process for
Oh,
preparing?
process. Okay. Uh, that's interesting too, because it changes it depends on the genre you're in.
Mhm.
In my audiobook genre, it's wonderful because you get the book, you read the book. And I tell my students, you better read that book before you start narrating it, because you don't know what's going to happen in the end.
Right.
And you may have to go back and change your whole person back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So, with the audiobook world, read the book, and the book will tell you what the character is like.
hmm
So you develop that. And the book will also tell you, like I did Traitor's Hands, Agatha Christie's Traitor's Hands with Mike Vendetti. And in that book, I play all the female roles and he plays all the male roles. In that book, the character has two different accents, a Bavarian accent and a Cockney accent.
Hmm.
So I developed those for the book. And it's something that I researched it, I listened to how it's delivered. And then you find out if the character is sneaky, underhanded, are they nice? So you learn a lot by what the author gives you.
Yeah.
And the author is usually very good about that, defining characters, because they want their story told the right way.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite warm up or vocal exercise to prepare for recording?
Actually, I have several, but I'm also a singer, so I know vocal warm-ups. But the things like lip trills and humming and uh, like the elevator siren pitch thing, swooping up and down, a lot of massaging of my face along the jawline. I have TMJ, which is terrible.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. And if I don't massage my upper jaw, it can get crunchy, I call it. So you have to take your whole face into consideration because that's your mask,
Right.
as well as breathing. And you need to breathe from the diaphragm. So all of these things need to be warmed up in order to produce a good sound, especially your articulators in front of your tongue and your teeth and your lips and all that. So tongue twisters, Matthew. Tongue twisters are good.
I remember having to do all that when I was in choir.
Yes. Yes.
And believe it or not, I was actually having to be taught diction as well.
Absolutely. My choir was the same way. We had diction warm-ups, we had vocal warm-ups, stretching, physical stretching. You have to have that because your entire body is your instrument. And if you're sick, that's going to throw everything off.
Yeah.
So I keep telling people, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Keep your body hydrated. Keep your vocal cords moist for production and breathe well.
You know what's funny? You could never tell, but I'm actually from West Virginia. I don't sound like it.
You don't sound like it. Wow. How long have you been there? All your life?
Uh, Other than the last 15 years, I had lived here. I'm back in West Virginia. Before then, I was Texas, Salt Lake, Georgia. Just
So the South, pretty much, right?
yeah,
And I don't hear a Southern accent in your tone at all.
no.
So how did you do that? I shouldn't be asking you the question.
When I was in school, when I was in choir, we were taught proper diction, and I applied that to everything.
Standard English, right?
Yes,
And I
yes.
teach that. I teach at Princeton Adult School, and it's online, so anybody can join us if they want to. In my intro to VO class, I teach them standard English. And if you know that from being on stage or singing in choir or anything like that, you're good to go on any public performance or any narration because that's what they look for. Unless, I mean, don't get me wrong, they do ask for dialects per region. So that's not uncommon either, but standard English is going to get you everywhere.
You were talking about the different accents, but what was the most challenging accent for you to nail?
Oh, okay. Believe it or not, it's Spanish. I
Really?
don't I don't know why. It's Spanish. French comes easily, the Bavarian came easily. Cockney I love. I have so much fun with that. But I had a Spanish maid that I had to do in one of those books. And I had to look so hard to find out something that I could listen to that thoroughly brought forth a Spanish language.
Hmm.
Yeah, now you wouldn't think, but yeah, that's me.
Have you ever voiced a character or project that surprised you by becoming one of your favorites?
It, let's see. The characters, as I said, in audiobooks, you learn what the characters are.
Hmm.
Um, in the, in the book, Elmer Gantry, that's our latest book with Mike Vendetti, and 17 hours and 51 minutes per finished hour, if you can
Hmm.
believe that. That was
Yeah.
a marathon book, but a great story. I played Sister Sharon Falconer, and I played the other women, but Sister Sharon was the most fun, outgoing, evangelical, really out there preacher person. And she had a big heart, though, too.
Hmm.
So at first, I was playing her like, oh, she's so she was very theatrical. So all of her setups were very theatrical. Her churches had flowing curtains and all different colored lights and very theatrical. So I'm thinking, well, this person is not really deep. But then they had a fire in the church, and she was the one that sacrificed herself to get everybody out of the building. So I really had a whole turnaround on the way that she was. It was a fun character, though. It was fun to do.
Among your 25 audiobooks, is there one that stands out as your favorite or most challenging?
Wow, I had so much fun doing them all. I really did. I have to say, though, I truly enjoyed Trader's Hands because of the two accents in it.
Mm-hmm.
But The Great Gatsby, that was fun too, because I love the story, although the ending is very sad, but I loved the story. The story itself was great. And to just see the people that have so much money that they can do whatever they feel like doing.
Right.
It was fun to play the female characters in that.
What was it like working on the Jazzy Vegetarian commercials for 10 seasons?
Ah, okay. That that was very easy because my neighbor Laura Theodore and her husband Andy Eberbach. Andy used to work for, I think it was NBC. He did sound in New York for one of the big companies. So he would once in a while come over to my house and I would tell him, Andy, my studio is in my closet. So he goes, well, I don't think I'm going to go in there. I said, okay. So he would occasionally direct me in some of the commercials because in the beginning, I was a newbie. I mean,
Right.
They were very kind to take me on. I was new. So he would direct me in the beginning. And then it was pretty much, it was almost guaranteed every July, I would get an email from Laura saying, okay, we're doing season 8 and here's the commercials for it. And she would give me the timelines on them, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. And I would just turn them around and get them back to her. One interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to ask you this, Matthew.
Okay.
There was a chocolate company in Canada, and they bought, believe it or not, a 5-second commercial, which is hard. But the company's name, now listen to this, was PASCHA. But think of PASHA. How would you say that?
Pasha.
Exactly. And when I recorded the commercial, I said Pasha chocolates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Laura got back to me immediately and she said, Kathy, I agree with your pronunciation. However, in Canada, they say Pasha chocolates. So they have that, I call it a flat A, whereas
Yeah.
we have a stage A, the Pasha. I had to go back and do it, and I had such a hard time saying it. Pasha.
But of course, Canadians also have that rising tone when they're speaking, and then as soon as they do a lower tone, it's your time to speak.
Yes, you're right. You're exactly right. Mark Scott, who I take quite a few classes, he's great for marketing. I listen to him, and he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he is like you and I. He speaks almost standard English.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear that Canadian accent at all when I listen to him. And my ear has become fine-tuned to the way people speak.
Yes.
So in the industry, you get that way.
Hey, whenever I was working for um, call centers, depending on where they were calling from, I would slip into the accent, and they're like, "Oh, are you from around here?"
But you know what? People like that. because then they trust you and they feel involved with you. And so that's kind of a normal thing. I agree. When you're with people, like I probably would do the same thing if I went to England. I
Yeah.
would probably fall into that British accent too.
See, I've talked to actual British people, and the closest I can come to any kind of accent is like uh, Tottenham Court Road.
Yep, because they drop back. They drop a lot of their consonants back.
Can you tell us more about the Charles Schwab project?
Oh, that was fantastic. I had such a good time doing that. They were so nice to begin with. Um, when I first got that, I was actually on vacation in Pennsylvania. And luckily, at that time, I always brought my equipment with me. So I had everything with me. And they contacted me and they said, we want you to read. Actually, Schwab did this through Time Life Media.
Mm-hmm.
So Time Life was their agent. So Time was contacting me. And Time said, we want you to read this again because we think that we can direct it a different way. Well, long story short, I must have been reading for them for 2 hours,
Oh no.
literally. And they said, okay, we got it. We're going to send it to the client and we'll be in touch with you soon. I said, okay, great. I got home. They said, you got it. They were located in New York City. I went into the city. They had a couple of like whisper booths set up in one of their rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there and the guy handed me the copy for the first time. All right. And it was
Okay.
a page long. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, this is going to take a long time. So we started it. He directed me and we were done in a half hour. I was so thrilled that we finished that quickly. So he's walking me back out to the door. And I said to him, you know, this is amazing. I thought this was going to take a lot longer. And he said, you know why it didn't take a lot longer? And I said, no, why? He said, because you're directable. He said, you take direction very well. And I attribute that to my stage performing because I've worked with so many directors, you know.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I tell my students. You have to be directable.
Yes.
If you're not, then the client is not going to get what they need.
You know, I run my own animation studio and I do work with voice actors. I mean, I've actually interviewed one of my own voice actors, Tracy Fowl. You know, we talked a little bit about being directable, especially since I've been in stage play productions back in school and everything, and it there's no change when you move from places like high school and whatnot into the actual industry.
Exactly. And if you can take direction, I'm telling you, you can do anything. You can do anything. If you can change your voice to whatever they need or change your accent, not, I mean, accent on a word, or like you said, going up at the end. They wanted me to go up at the end on one sentence because it says your finances will go up, you know, and that's what they wanted. And then the next sentence was going down. So, I mean, the direction wasn't that hard, but you have to make it sound natural.
Right. Have you ever found yourself unintentionally using one of your character voices in real life?
Yes, that's so funny. Yes. And I usually find that when I'm with kids. Little kids love to play and little kids love characters. Actually, one of my students has 2 little girls and he just told me the same thing. You play with them and you become the character. And they're so drawn in by that, you know, they're so attentive to what you're saying. So I told their mother, I said, you know what? If you have to discipline them, you should discipline them in a character voice. You know?
Do you listen to your own work after it's released, or do you prefer to let it live with the audience?
Do I go back and look at my work? Is that what you're saying? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because I am very particular.
Hmm.
It's important to me that my work is done well, and
Yes.
the sound is done well, and the character portrayals are real.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, you bet your life. I go and listen to my books. I have my books all on Audible. You know, they're all on my library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen because you know what? When you go over your own work and you hear certain things that you say, I should have done this. Or
Yeah.
next time when I have that situation, I'm going to do that.
That also affects writers as well. If you're, excuse me, if you're not reading it and just listening to it, you'll find all the mistakes that you need to fix.
Yes, absolutely. And I used to record without headphones.
Hmm.
And I started coaching with Anne Ganguza, who is amazing. And she said to me, "Why don't you use your headphones?" And I said, "Well, I didn't want to get sucked into my own voice, so to
Hmm.
speak." And she said, "But isn't it better that when you hear yourself, you can correct the mistake or you can correct it right away?" And I said, "Yeah, you're right. You know that."
And see, that's one thing I can't do. Excuse me. I can't have a headphone on hearing myself because then I want to stop talking. Because I've always been told when someone else is talking, don't interrupt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's only me. When I have the headphones on, it's only me.
Right.
So there's nobody to interrupt. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone just starting out in the voiceover industry?
Take as much training as you can. Training is very important to start. And make sure when you start training that you train with somebody who is currently involved in the industry. You want someone who's got their finger on the pulse of what's going on in voiceover. I'm not saying there are other people that don't know for sure, but there are people that teach that may be from another industry. So you want to make sure you're training with somebody who's in the industry, who's doing voiceover. And particularly if you choose a niche, you want to make sure that you train with the person that's in your niche. Like I trained with Elise Arsenault, and she does the adventures of audiobooks.
Hmm.
And boy, do I recommend that to anyone that wants to get into audiobooks. That is very, very foundational training. It's step by step.
Hmm.
It takes you through putting up a studio, it takes you through recording. It's excellent training. And just because you're in voiceover for many, many years, like myself, doesn't mean you don't stop training. I take
Right.
classes all the time, constantly, because you're constantly learning. And things change, like you were saying, Matthew. Things change in every industry. And
Yes.
you want to know what those changes are.
You know, when I was doing the audiobooks for my uh, my current books that I have out, you know, I had one person who was surprised that even in auditions, I was asking him to change how things were. And I would actually talk with each person who was auditioning to see where they could improve.
Excellent. That's excellent because if you can direct a person that's auditioning for you
Hmm.
and you find that they're reading your work the way you want it read,
Hmm.
that's the person you hire.
Right.
and especially if they're directable. That's so
Yeah.
important.
But I was also told that not a lot of authors actually do that. They just, I'm going to choose you. Please do it. And
You know why?
why?
And I love authors, they're so creative, but they're not necessarily directors. So most of the directors that I've seen come from the publishing industry,
Hmm.
but they're people that have audiobook experience.
Right.
They're people that have already done it, and they're people that know what the author is looking for in a character.
Hmm.
So those are the kinds of directors that I'm thinking of. I am primarily self-published with Spoken Realms. It's a self-publishing publisher.
Yeah.
And when you are self-published, you do everything. You narrate, you edit,
Yeah.
and then you send it through the software to make sure that there's no mistakes. And then Spoken Realms publishes it and distributes it.
Hmm.
So I'm self-directed, but I'm okay with that because of my stage performing background.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable in assuming a character and putting it forward. But when I collaborate, if Mike Vendetti say has a suggestion for me,
Yeah.
or if I didn't say something with a hard enough consonant at the end,
Hmm.
he'll give it back to me and say, "Would you mind doing this line again?" And he doesn't even say why necessarily, but
Hmm.
I know in my head, I know he's looking for a different interpretation or better pronunciation, one or the other.
Right. And see, I'm the kind of person that wears multiple hats. I'm not just a novelist. I'm not just a screenwriter. I also want to direct and
Excellent. Excellent. And you have to be that way. You truly, I've directed productions in my church, and I've directed productions elsewhere. I've always been involved with stage. So, right, I totally understand that, wearing multiple hats. But it also gives you better experience in all
Mhm.
different things.
Right. How do you handle constructive criticism or feedback from clients or producers?
Very well. um, you know what? The way I look at that, and the criticism is usually given in a very nice way if there's something that needs to be changed, or
Hmm.
if something didn't go over well. I look at it as a learning experience for me. So it's not something I'm never going to get angry or upset with anybody that gives me constructive criticism,
Right.
because it's only meant for me to learn. It's not meant negatively.
Right.
So
You
you,
know,
you accept it and you use it.
there have been times, even in writing, someone has come to me, can you check this for me? And I will do a full red line. And I went so far with one person that they cried and just quit writing altogether because of all the notation that I did on their work.
But you know what? I would look at was that person new to writing?
Yes.
Okay. If I were new, when I was new to voiceover, let me tell you, my friend Laura Theodore's husband came over a bunch of times and directed me.
Hmm.
And he was a spot on director. All right. In other words, I needed to have a beat there before I went on to the next word.
Right.
So if I didn't have that beat there, he would bring it up with about 5 other things. But he's a professional.
Right.
I was just starting.
Right.
So I was grateful for all that he had to say to me.
Right.
But if I was ultra sensitive, which is another thing, well, I used to be, but now I've learned, take the sensitivity out of it, because people are not criticizing you,
Right.
they're helping you.
Right.
And that's the way I started looking at it. And I'm like, well, and either I can agree or disagree. I don't have to take everything. I could agree or disagree.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it.
But you have to worry about where the criticism comes from. I've had years of experience writing and everything, and I had someone from academia try and tell me you're doing it all wrong because he was taught English. And it's like, you're taught English, not literature, okay? You're taught the rules. As a writer, you're meant to bend and break them.
Amen, brother. Amen. I have seen, obviously narrating a lot of different things.
Mhm.
I have seen things written in ways that, I wouldn't think that it would be written that way,
Right.
but it's a creative effort on the author's part.
Hmm.
Who's to say you're wrong with your creative effort? I don't believe that. Everybody has their own personal creativity and they should let their star shine. That's my
Right.
you know.
It's funny. The last, before this most recent one that I published one called Virtual Requiem. Okay, it's an isekai, if you know what that means.
No.
It means that people are taken to another world.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's a Japanese term.
Okay.
So he's like, well, in order to write a proper isekai, it has to be XYZ. And I'm saying, no, that's not the way this is going. These people are not just living, they're trying to survive. These people had happy lives and all of a sudden it got ripped from them.
Right. And I think you have every way to express that on your own. You have every right to express it in the way that you wish to express it.
Hmm.
Because I think you would put forth the struggle and the survival and in the way that you feel that it applies to that type of a scenario.
Right. In your opinion, what makes a voice actor stand out in such a competitive industry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, in all the classes that I've taken lately, the big term seems to be you want to be different.
Hmm.
That's what makes you stand out. You want to be different. So, somebody who's putting out this audition probably has something in their mind. And they may hear 20 people that are doing the same audition, the same sound, the same inflection, the same. And you come along and you turned it around.
Hmm.
And they weren't expecting that. But guess what? They suddenly go, oh, you know what? I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that. And you came in as being different.
Right.
And that's what they're looking for. And I also tell people don't give just one audition unless the client asks for it.
Right.
Always give two, two very different auditions. And you have a very good shot with giving two.
And coming from a director's standpoint, a director may think he wants it a certain way, and he's listening to all these people, and it's just not clicking. But the second you find the one person who's doing it differently, it's like, maybe we need to go in that route.
Exactly. And that does happen. That happens quite a bit where you don't even realize it because you're not hearing their reaction from the audition you've given.
Hmm.
And sometimes, most of the time, you don't get any feedback, which is sad because that
Yeah.
feedback would really help.
Right.
So you don't get any. But definitely give two different auditions, either a fast one and a more moderate one, or an emotional one and one that's kind of straightish.
Hmm. Now, we were talking about AI earlier. Do you think AI generated voices are a threat or an opportunity for voice actors?
Boy, that question is going around a lot because that's a heavy duty question.
Hmm.
Um, and it depends on which side you're on
Right.
because there's two sides to this.
Hmm.
There's the side that says, if you don't jump on the AI bandwagon, you're going to miss the boat. Now, there are many, 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 many machine learning companies. Actually, there's an audition that's all over the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every agency, every pay to play has this audition right now. And it's paying $60 an hour. I think that's the max. And it's 30-second snippets that you do, and it's ongoing. And it's for machine learning. Now, it's the same audition. I was approached by two different people about this. And I said to them, how do I know that my voice is not being sold beyond the machine learning?
Right.
And they wrote back and they said, no, your voice is only going to be used for machine learning. Well, duh, what do you think that is? The machine learning is taking your voice and creating AI.
Right.
All right. Well, what are they going to do with that? That's going somewhere. So you don't know where it's going. So that's the bad part about it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be paid for what you do. And
Right.
NAVA, again, NAVA, National Association of Voice Actors, NAVA has a rider that you can now put in your contracts that says, and it's also a law now. They went to Washington. It is a law that you get paid for every time your voice is used. And also imaging is included in that for actors, imaging. So that's the one side. That's the side that says, okay, I'm going to try to work with AI. I'm going to help to train the machines, and I'll get paid if my voice goes on. There's a very ethical company, and I'll mention them because they are ethical, and they're called Well Said Labs. And I applied to them, but I believe they're in the States somewhere. They have so many English people applying that they're looking for foreign languages right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Well Said makes an emoji of your voice, and they can sell it, but you will be paid for every time your voice sells.
Yeah.
So it's an ethical company. So that's the good way to look at it. The other side of this is, no way am I going to help train a machine that's going to take my job away from me.
Right.
Okay. AI is already in the audiobook world, and it's very sad. It
Yes.
really is sad because it sounds terrible.
Right.
I mean, I've heard these voices. I've seen the commercials. They do not sound good.
No.
So you want a person to deliver your message with feeling, with emotion, with whatever emotion you're looking for, because you're not going to get that from a machine.
Right.
So that's Nava's side, and I am so torn. I'm torn because I want to be paid for my voice production.
Right.
You know, I put the work into it. I respect your company enough to give you good work, and I should be paid for it. And I still should be paid if you sell it and somebody buys it and they sell it. I should still be paid. But then here's the thing, how do you keep track of that?
Right. Now, for those who are trying to get into the entertainment industry, I don't want to, I'm not being paid for this, but there's a book called The Biz, 6th edition. It actually explains how AI can be used within the entertainment industry. It's written by Skylar Moore. He was the first person I interviewed on my podcast. And I have his 5th edition book. I need to get my hands on the 6th. You can find that in my throne on Twitch if you follow me there.
That sounds good. That sounds good. AI, and don't get me wrong, AI is everywhere. It's in the medical industry. It's in the production industry. It's everywhere. And like you said in the beginning, it's great as an assistant
Mm-hmm.
because it's very fast.
Right.
And the reason that corporations like AI is because it's less expensive. Well, it's less expensive because there's not a person doing it, you know?
Well, someone in my position, I live off of disability. I'm on a fixed income. I want to pay an artist to actually work on my project, my book covers. But the last couple books, I've had to go to AI because I've not had the money. And I hate doing that.
I understand.
But
I
when someone's coming at you saying, "Yeah, I'll do it for about $400," there's a problem.
I know. Believe me, I've been in your footsteps as well.
Mm.
When it comes to audio editing,
Mm.
if I'm involved in a long book, sometimes I like to farm out the editing.
Mm.
I've paid over $600 to have that done, and not to have it done the way I would like it.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to check everything that came back to me and fix it. So
Well,
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
well, even as an author, I have to listen to each chapter individually, make notes, and send it back to be fixed.
Yes. Yes.
I
Understood.
in the last interview I had for season 2, Matt Harlan, he did the voiceover for my book, Virtual Requiem. There's been times that even I missed it, but he would run over words and do them improperly.
Ah. So what did you say?
I just said, it's something that we both need to think about for next time, because he said he was going to do the next book in the series.
Oh, good. If you get a voice that you like and you have a series
Hmm.
and they do it well for a character or whatever, it's good to stick with him. I would mention it to him. I'm sure he
Yeah,
would be open to it perfectly.
I still need to get a call with him because he's been having some personal issues, and he finally got around to talking to me again.
Understood. Believe me, I understand.
What trends or shifts in the voiceover industry excite you the most right now?
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a tough one. I because I'm so involved in audiobooks.
Hmm.
Um, I think what bothers me though is the that AI is taking over audiobooks.
Yes.
That really does bother me. You know?
Yeah, I, another issue that comes up, especially in ACX, is you have three different ways of trying to pay a person. You have straight up paying them royalties, or paying them and giving them royalties. And a person like me, I can only do royalties, and that puts a lot of people off.
But I do understand that, but that's the world I'm in as well.
Hmm.
Um, Spoken Realms is a royalty company.
Yeah.
All my books are royalty. Um, I learned the other day in taking a class with Ronnie Butler and Karen. She works for Penguin Random House and she's very nice.
Hmm.
But I learned from both of them that they prefer to have people in the union as narrators in the big five publishing companies.
Oh, really?
So that's interesting to know. And the union is kind of a protection thing.
Right.
So that's interesting to know. Also, union narrators make more money.
Hmm.
So the big publishers, and I can't speak for all of them, but the big publishers will pay you, I don't know, maybe 250 an hour up for
Hmm.
union. I'm sure they get more than that.
Right.
And they may not give you a royalty. They may pay you that lump sum either at the end or halfway or whatever, and you may not get royalties. But if you're a big enough star, you may get both. You may get
Right.
the hourly and the royalty share. So yeah, it's hard. I work a lot out of the public domain,
Hmm.
so we don't have to worry about the authors, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But as I said, the situation is solely royalties.
And I want to iterate to people that if you're going into any industry for the money only, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
That's correct. That is so correct. You want to be doing it for the love of what you're doing.
Right.
You
I
know,
don't I don't make a lot of money off of my books, but I still write them because I do have a small fan base that wants to read.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same way here. I have people when I see my royalty breakdown, I have people all over the globe that are buying my books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a wonderful feeling. But like you said, I'm not rich. You know, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly enjoy performing. That's my thing. So you do it for the love of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love more people to read my work, but the money is just a bonus.
Exactly. Exactly. And we can get the word out there. I'm on LinkedIn and I love to post things about what's going on. And, I'll post this interview if I can, if that's all right with you,
Of course.
or I'll send them a link or whatever. But social media is truly the way to get your stuff out there.
Yes.
Social media is unbelievable. If you build up a following on there, oh my gosh, it's
Just what
fantastic.
you just have to watch out because of the algorithm. Unless you're playing it like a video game, posting hourly or daily, you're not going to get out there as much as you would want.
Ah, does
That's
that
the
apply
rub.
to LinkedIn?
Does that apply to what?
LinkedIn?
Yes, LinkedIn has an algorithm as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for
Face,
sharing that.
Facebook has an algorithm. Every social media has an algorithm, and unless you're like constantly on it, you're not getting to as many people as you think you are.
Aha. So that encourages you to be constantly on it.
Or hire a social media manager.
Yes. Good idea.
If you could voice any character from an iconic movie or series, past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh, oh gosh. I don't even know how to answer that. There are so many movies and there are so many animated versions. I have loved, and this is not necessarily voiceover, but Meryl Streep is one of my absolute favorite actresses.
The Devil
She's
Wears Prada.
she's amazing.
Yes, she is.
So, yeah, I want to be her when I grow up.
You got to wonder about some of these roles, though. It's like you can't be serious in these roles, and you find these actors in like roles that you wouldn't expect them to be in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but if you're somebody, I'm going to use Meryl again. If you're somebody like Meryl Streep, you are so flexible and moldable. And there we go with the directing again.
Yeah.
To be able to do, I mean, look at her. She was in Mamma Mia and she was in Sophie's Choice, right?
Yeah.
Those are totally two different types of characters, right?
Right.
I mean, and she's done so much more. And she's just flexible and moldable and award worthy, which she's got enough of.
And that wraps another fantastic episode of LPA Presents. A huge thank you to Kathy Verduin for sharing her incredible journey, wisdom, and glimpse into the magical world behind the voiceover work.
Matthew, can I just say one more thing?
Of
Is that all right?
course. Yes.
Thank you. I'm also on VO Radio Online. And for all the voiceover people out there and for all the people that look for voiceover people or train or whatever, VO Radio Online is run by Anthony Reese, and it's 100% voiceover. We have panel features Monday and Wednesday. I am one of their feature artists. I have the audiobook Nook. I also do some of their commercials on there. It's all voiceover oriented. So if anybody out there needs voiceover or is curious about it, give a listen to voradioonline.com and you won't regret it.
If there's one thing to take away from today's conversation, it's that passion, dedication, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone can take you to places you never imagined. Whether you're dreaming of bringing characters to life, creating worlds with your voice, or pursuing any creative path, remember your journey starts with that first step. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll be sitting right here in the hot seat sharing your own story with us. Until then, keep dreaming, keep creating, and keep striving. Thank you for tuning in to LPA Presents. I'm your host, Matthew D. Rhodes, and I'll see you next time.